Hello, welcome to Mike Liang's new version of applying the wisdom of art of war to business running. We are going to look at section 4 of the first chapter today. Let me first read the whole original English version first before we explain sentence by sentence or paragraph by paragraph. The general that hearkens to my counsel, an ex-opponent will conquer. Let such a one be retained in command. The general that hearkens not to my counsel, nor ex-opponent, will suffer defeat. Let such a one be dismissed. While heeding the profits of my counsel, avail yourself also of any helpful circumstances over and beyond ordinary rules. According as circumstances are favorable, one should modify one's plans. Okay, this is the original version of the English translation. Today, I will be bold enough to make some corrections to the original English version translation. And also, there are some key messages. Even though we look at the English translation word for word, they are okay. However, there are some key messages that cannot be very well expressed, or something might be missed during the translation. So I'm not saying that my English is very good. Actually, it is not. I know, I am aware it is, like I said a number of times, it is not my mother tongue. I'm fully aware of that. However, I am trying my best in order to convey the original message that Sun Tzu was trying to tell us. Of course, Sun Tzu wrote his article in what we call ancient Chinese characters. So it is not modern Chinese language. Therefore, even today, for a person like me, sometimes it is difficult to really understand what Sun Tzu was trying to say. Of course, there have been so many peoples, generations by generations, they have been putting a lot of efforts trying to understand what Sun Tzu is trying to tell us. Therefore, nowadays, we have this opportunity to let people know that at least there are a number of options that people think they are okay, they are reasonable, and we can agree that these are the original ideas that Sun Tzu was trying to express. Okay, let me first begin with the first paragraph. And let me read it again because you can see I put something in red because this is the second option that this original Chinese version can be put into English. I will explain right away, okay? Let me first read again. The general that hearkens to my counsel and ex-opponent will conquer. Let such a one be retained in command. The general that hearkens not to my counsel, nor ex-opponent will suffer defeat. Let such a one be dismissed. Now, this is in China, especially when those professors, very well knowledgeable person, when people are trying to study the art of war, this translation is the first option that people would feel. This is the message that Sun Tzu was trying to express to people. However, there is another option, and you can look at the red words, the expressions I put here. Please bear in mind that the book, The Art of War, when Sun Tzu was writing such a book, it is because his friend, Mr. Wu, recommended Sun Tzu to the king of Wu, He Lü. So Mr. Wu Zixu, his friend, Sun Tzu's friend, he was telling the king of Wu that Sun Tzu is a very capable, very competent general that we must hire in order to make sure that when we fight with the state of Chu and also the state of Yue, we will win. At the beginning, the king of Wu, his name is He Lü, he was not very well convinced. Therefore, he asked Mr. Wu Zixu to tell Mr. Sun Tzu to write an article about war. This is how this whole book came from. So once this book was written, it was presented to the king of Wu, and then Mr. Sun Tzu was explaining the article to Mr. He Lü, the king of Wu. While they were discussing, something happened again, and many people may know that Sun Tzu killed 2 favorable concubines of the king of Wu when he was asked by the king of Wu to train his concubines, hundreds of them. And then the 2 leaders of the 2 groups, Sun Tzu put them into 2 groups and nominated 2 leaders. And then because they were not obeying Sun Tzu's command, Sun Tzu executed the 2 leaders. And these 2 are the favorable, like I said just now, favorable concubines of the king of Wu. Actually, king of Wu was convinced. Now, this is the background of this book. So there is another saying. People say that Sun Tzu was also trying to tell the king of Wu that having said so much, chapter 1, okay, we have gone through 3 sections so far. Having said so much, having said so, if you hearken to my counsel and act upon it, here you refers to the king of Wu, He Lü. You will conquer. Then, please listen this part attentively. Then I will stay and work for you. If you, as the king of Wu, you don't hearken not to my counsel nor act upon it, you will suffer defeat. Then I will have to choose to go, to leave, because you will for sure be defeated. So there is another option. People all agree in China, the academic world, who studies the art of war. This is another possibility. And it was very common that in those, what we say, in the late Zhou dynasties, people are working, it is very possible for different people to work for different states. So if state A hires me, then I will be loyal to you. I will be loyal to my job responsibilities, and then I will stay. Otherwise, I may go to state B if you are not interested in me, and the other one, they are eager to hire me. And this is okay at that time of China. Now, I'm telling you that this is another possible understanding of this paragraph. Now, let us move on to the next slide. We have been talking about 5 analyses, 7 comparisons, remember? And I was telling you that these are the tools that Sun Tzu was trying to tell people that you can use for your strategic decision making. Now, having discussed about 5 analyses and 7 comparisons, Sun Tzu said now, while heeding the profits of my counsel, Avail yourself also of any helpful circumstances over and beyond the ordinary rules. Now, again, let me explain detailedly and try to be as in-depth as possible. Sun Tzu here was trying to convey to people that once the strategy is made, we must try every possibility in order to build a favorable external circumstances and gathering internal favorable momentum in order to make sure that the formulated strategy will be deployed, will be implemented smoothly as it was expected. This is what Sun Tzu was trying to tell people. So in Chinese we often say this is to build favorable circumstances, trend, and momentum in order to be helpful for the implementation of strategy. So again, let me be bold enough, I am telling you that the original English translation was not conveying the right message. Okay, we move on to the next slide. Sun Tzu was trying to tell people what we are talking about: favorable circumstances, trend, momentum. What do you mean about that? Now, Sun Tzu, the original English translation, it says, according as circumstances are favorable, one should modify one's plans. Again, please look at the red part. This is, of course, translated by me. And I said, according as circumstances and trend, favorable or not, one should modify the ready-made plan or strategy based on the new judgments on the possible gains or loss. First point, Sun Tzu was telling us when we start a war, we must make sure that at the end of the day, there is gains. Otherwise, why do we start the war? When we set up a business today, at the end of the day, we must have net profits, at least at the very beginning, enough cash flow to help the business running smoothly. Otherwise, why are we here for? So this is the key point Sun Tzu was trying to tell us. The other point is he wants to make sure that we try every possibility in order to make sure that we are helpful, we are supportive to the soldiers out in the battlefield. So now, by this point, this is the second point, he wants to say we must keep everything under control so that the deployment, implementation of strategy is smooth, will be executed. Number 3, by this paragraph, Sun Tzu was trying to tell people that we must be flexible enough. So today, we are talking about business running. There are words like innovation, flexibility, etc., change management. So an organization must be flexible, especially this COVID-19. In the recent days, it is really a test of how an organization, how flexible an organization is. There are some companies, online shopping suppliers, for example, if they are only on the shop floor providing products, services in those shopping malls, then today most of them are gone. If this kind of suppliers, manufacturers, they have those stores, shops in the shopping malls, Together, they have online shoppings, they have mobile phone apps. Today, they are still running okay. And also like Google Meet, Teams by Microsoft, and also Zoom, these kind of devices, it really improves the flexibility of internal organizational communications of different companies. So these companies are very successful today. So let us be as flexible as possible, even though the strategy is made. Now, when we are talking about business, even though our budget is done, however, no matter what sales forecast is there, cash flow is budgeted, etc., doesn't matter, because once we are out there in the market, we feel that, okay, when everything changed, a lot changes. They are different from our forecasts when we were making the budget. What shall we do? Let us be flexible. Let us change our budget accordingly. Okay, today we discussed 3 paragraphs, and I am very bold to make some possible corrections or my suggestions, comments on the English translation. Please forgive me if I am a little bit too bold. And next version, next program, we are going to discuss the 12 deceptions. Like Sun Tzu said, at the end of the day, the essential part of the strategy deployment is by deceptions. We will look at 12 of them in the next program. If you feel my program is okay and it really helps you to understand the original flavor of the art of war, please kindly give me a like, subscribe, and forward to your friends. Thank you so much, and see you in the next program.